Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to a new video on the channel. We got ourselves the Ford Fiesta. Brand new car that they've added into this game. This one is the 3-cylinder Ford Fiesta ST. Obviously, we've had previous generation ones before, but this one is brand new. You get it by getting your 20 points this season. That's pretty much it. Also, I highly recommend that you guys get your 40 points this season. Get that Clio. You won't regret it. It's probably the best, or one of the best hot hatches in this game that you can drive. Unbelievable little car. Get it and try it out. But today's video is going to be about the Fiesta and what we can do with it. We can actually have the authentic McDonald's car park authentic experience now. All right, we can do that. We can finally have that with a Ford Fiesta ST. You guys don't know what I'm talking about. Don't worry about it. But the Ford Fiesta ST in this game, I've driven it a little earlier in the week when we got to check it. Actually, it was last week. And we got to check out basically all these cars completely stock in the rival events. Fiesta was okay. It wasn't too bad. It was a little understeery. It's a little slow on that, but it's a fun little car to drive. Now we actually have our hands on it. We actually get to mess around with it a little bit, tune it, upgrade it, see what's possible to be done to this car. I'm expecting not much. I hope we still have the maxed in design stuff, because then I'd be actually quite happy with the parts that will be available for this thing. Also, very, very boring in black, so we're going to be changing that. I'm going to be driving this thing like I usually drive that Clio as well. Really hard, handbrake turns everywhere. Accelerating like mad, spinning, wheel spinning, lots of understeer going on. Oh my god. I'm pointing the front end to the left and I'm flying it. It just doesn't want to go that way whatsoever. That is great. Also, oh my god. Also, I feel like this thing with a good tune could possibly be really, really good. Like, actually, genuinely, like a good car. I want to change the paint on this thing first before I do anything else. Not a lot of paints that we can actually pick from. The red's probably the nicest one. And we also have this green, for whatever reason, they decided to add into the game. Why is the blue gone? Why are we not allowed to get this thing in the classic blue? I feel like if every time you think of a Ford ST, it's always blue. Why is the blue gone from the colors that we were able to pick for this thing? I want to paint the blue, I don't even care. If it's a... There you go. Perfect. Why is this blue just not the standard color for this car anymore? Like, why is... I'm picking it blue, I don't even care. If you think of a Ford ST, anything... Old Ford Focus, the Transit, the Fiesta, whatever you want to pick. The ST was always blue, and the RS was usually green. That was it in my eyes, right? RS was usually green. Actually, to be honest, the first generation Focus RS was also blue. Anyway, regardless, performance Fords should have blue as standard. So look at some of the options that we have available here. Maxed in design parts are back. Canards, yes. Yes. I'm actually happy that we have a bunch of different designs for the rear bumper. A bunch of different ones. I kind of want to go with this like RS style rear bumper. I guarantee you this is what it's called as well. If you go and look it up on the actual website as well for Maxed in design, I guarantee you this is called an RS style rear bumper. Guarantee you. I'm gonna go with the fat side skirts as well. Okay, not too bad. Should I try and rice this thing out like I did with the Focus? Just do a bunch of stupid mods and stupid parts on it? At first, I feel like... I don't know. I kind of want to just keep this thing nice and clean, but at the same time, I want to also just modify this thing and make it look as clapped as possible. I just feel like it'd be very, very funny if I do something like that. But at the same time, I do think that this... I kind of want to try this car out in terms of like racing and stuff like that. I feel like a little bit of racing with it would be quite nice. I'm putting 1552s on it. It has to have 1552s on it. I'm making them big as well. 19s all the way around. Jesus. What's the tire width for this? 205? Nope. 235s. 235s looks ridiculous. And then track width, I obviously did that. Yeah. Should we try and see what it's like as a little race car? Little on-road handling car? We'll see what that's like. None of these parts are adjustable, I don't think. So I think if I really want to build this thing properly, I might have to do it with that splitter in mind as well. However, what I'm thinking about doing is not only just doing that, but also trying to maybe I'm gonna get rid of this. Actually, I'm not gonna build it with those tires in mind. I'm gonna probably put either semi-slicks, or I'm gonna put drag tires on it. I'm gonna put some drag tires on it, and I'm gonna build this thing up. Yeah, I knew that I wasn't able to engine swap it. Just somewhere in my mind, I was like, there's no way there's any other engine swaps available except for the Raleigh engine. I'm gonna try and build this thing up to the top of B class, because usually there's not really that many cars in B class that are like quite quick. Sorry, there are, but it's just the I always want to try and find something new, something interesting to drive. And since this is new to this game, I feel like it'd be a very interesting car to try and have at the top of B class. Oh my god, that's already jumped it. Okay, sounds apparently the sound just doesn't want to change whatsoever. And this is pretty much what it's like at the top of B class. Our handling is better. It weighs less than a ton. 239 horsepower. I want to try it. I'm going to try and pick like a smallish track. And I want to bring it into Rivals and do something with it. And we'll see if it's any decent in the old B class. I may try to bring it up in a higher class as well afterwards, but for right now, I just want to try it like this and see what it's like. It actually doesn't look that bad. At first I was like, you know, maxing design parts, you know, might make this thing look a little clap. I mean, the two spoilers on the rear end and the canards do make it look a little bit ugly. But I think I actually don't really mind the 1552s on it. It actually kind of suit it, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, anyway, let's bring it over into, that's not Rivals. Bring it over to rival events. Bring it over to road racing. And we'll try to pick a smallish track, like I said. Something maybe like the Horizon Mexico circuit. Lookout circuit is very tiny. You can try that. What car have I used here? Because I've definitely tried a B class on this track before. With something else. The Clio. The 1993 Clio. I'm going to select that as my ghost. Obviously the Civic is up at the very top. I've already done a video on a lot of the best cars in each class for specific race events. So the Civic, I think, is one of them that's unbelievable in this game. I'm pretty sure I made a video on that as well. But I'm not really gonna... Well, I'm obviously gonna try aim as high as possible, but I don't think I'm gonna beat the Civic, for example. Because I feel like people will get these cars early and they'll test them and experiment on them. And I will definitely be letting known if these cars are really good or not. So we'll try and give this a shot. I want to try to see if I can at least get a better time than the Clio. We'll see if I'm able to do that. Obviously this first lap is going to be more of like a little try to see what this car handles like type of lap before we actually go into the oh, I like the rotation when I lift off. That's actually quite nice. I mean, I made it so it kind of rotates a little nicer. It doesn't understeer, it kind of wants to oversteer a little bit more. Because this thing stock actually does understeer a tiny bit. Look at that, don't even need to brake or anything, just slight lift off and the Fiesta just turns in really nicely. The gear ratios are nice and short. I don't even know if this is my tune with the Clio. Clio's fairly quick. There are probably other ways to build this Fiesta to make it even faster or even better around corners, but for right now, with just a few parts that I slapped on it, let's see if it's capable of doing anything. I think the Clio's a lot better at high-speed corners. Worst line in the Clio. Somehow I'm still ahead. Interesting. Very interesting. Clio is quick. Clio is quick. I'm slower by about 0.7 of a second. Can I just not lift? I want to see if I can just make it on corners without lifting. Ooh. There you go. Question asked and question answered. Interesting. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I can't keep up with the Clio. Maybe lightness is the better approach for this. Maybe I just don't have the lightness. It does still want to understeer quite a bit. Obviously, it's not as bad as it was initially at the very beginning, but it does still want to understeer a little bit. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I wonder if adding the aero onto this thing will make it a little bit more compliant. So instead of having the maximum design parts on it, actually have the aero that allows this thing to grip up a little bit more. Because that Clio does have the aero that's customizable. The aero that's adjustable. This obviously does not. So I'm just kind of rolling with it. I think it'll mostly be useful for like high-speed corners, because for the lower speed corners it doesn't really do anything. Obviously you want air to pass through it for it to be actually useful, you know? If you don't have a lot of air that's passing through it because you're not going at speed, then obviously it's not very useful having adjustable aero. Interesting. Okay, so it's about what, 0.2 of a second slower than the Clio? Something like that. We leave it alone for now. I want to try and change a couple of things on this guy. See if I can make it a little bit better. Firstly, I want to mess with the aero. And second of all, I still want to keep it front wheel drive. But I want to mess with the aero and see if it might drop the class down even more if I mess with my aero and I add it on. So by doing so, I could probably even get this thing to have a little bit more power. So let's try that. I built it like this for a laugh, just to mess around with it, but just now. Okay, it does drop it down in class. If I get rid of that, plus that, wait, drag. I mean, there's barely any difference. I'd rather do that than anything else. Rear bumper doesn't really change. Wait. Non-adjustable? What? None of these are adjustable. What are you on about, game? Non-adjustable. It just confused me for a second when I saw that. It's fine. Oh, that really changes much anyway. Okay, now that we've done that, I also can get rid of... actually, no, brakes are fine. We can keep the brakes. What can I get rid of? I can get rid of a couple of things that we don't really need. Get rid of the clutch. And by... should I buy a sports transmission instead? And unless the final drive, because that's the only thing that I kind of want. And get rid of that. As much as I like the lightness of it, I think a tiny bit more power could be very, very useful. So, I'm trying to mess around and give it the power that it can have. Turbo upgrade, definitely not. Piston upgrade, maybe? Yeah. Okay, there we go. We've obviously gotten slightly more weight, but our grip has gone up, and our power's gone up. So now let's try it. Should be a little bit different to drive, now that we have aero as well. I'm going to adjust it so it's giving us a lot of downforce, but... Alright, let's see if this aero actually makes a difference, and of course, what our power is like now as well. I still need to be careful though, because the tires, the grip from the tires is still there, and it's still quite similar to what it was like before. But now we have the aero. Should probably play manual clutch as well with this car now that I got rid of the upgraded clutch. Oh, okay. Okay. It is now so grippy that turning in actually basically just slows it down. I don't really have to use my brakes at all. Interesting. Interesting. The arrows actually seems like it's done a really good job. Like a really good job. That is a noticeable difference in cornering grip. We haven't done anything else to the tires. That is nice. Okay. Interesting. I don't think I have the same top speed that I had before, though. Obviously, because the arrow is gonna try and slow it down a little bit. But let's just have a look now at some of these corners. Oh my god, I don't even have to lift at all for any of them. I'm just going flat out. That's pretty cool. That makes a massive difference in terms of like cornering with this thing. Look, I'm not like lifting at all. It's crazy. That is so much easier to drive now, this car, than what it was like before. So much easier. Significantly easier to drive. The main thing is, though, I need to be careful with my like speed at the higher end, right? Because, or what the way I handle at the higher end, I need to like keep more speed. Yeah, usually aero doesn't really come into play too much when it comes to the cars lower in class like this, but if you have some places where it actually is quite useful, such as this track, for example, there's a couple of high-speed corners. I mean, they could be quite interesting if we have this aero on versus not having it on. It's just the only thing is I need to be very careful and very like methodical with the way I drive to keep my speed up in those corners. I need to have like a good line. I'm bored of driving it like this. Let's max it out. Let's see what it's capable of once it's fully built. I don't think the standard engine is going to be able to put up too much of a fight. Let's just see exactly how much power can we squeeze out of this standard engine. This little 3-cylinder. I feel so bad for the Ford Fiesta ST. That I don't have to roll around with a 3-cylinder. 439. Yeah, it's not great, is it? Not great. All-wheel drive. Raleigh engine swap. Give it an arseload of power. I'm gonna change my tires. Whoops. I'm gonna change my tires to these. And I am also going to go and pretty much buy what I want. Alright. Better? Better. Let's actually take this thing off-roading and actually abuse it, because I feel like it's definitely able to take it. You know what's the one thing that I never really did? I've never really taken this car, or just any car, down the mountain, but going the other way. It's always been just on the drift zone, but I've never taken it out on this like off-road section here. So I think I also need to change to standard steering, because sim steering and you're driving off-road like this, it's so snappy that it just gets to a point where it's really annoying. Oh my god. Yes, this is much more like it. This is much more like it. Rally Fiesta is so much better. Oh, I should probably try and follow the track itself instead of crashing into things. Oh, this is so much nicer to drive like this. It feels like it's at home here. Go on rallying with it. So dirty. I put all the Maxim design parts as well. I got it again. Oh yeah, look at me. Doing a bit of drifting. A little rally drifting. This is not built for this, by the way, to go like drifting. I mostly just built this thing right now with these parts and my setup just so I can handle a little bit of off-roading. Like I said, it feels like natural being here on this part of the mountain. On a little like rally stage that the game is has provided us with, a little trail for it. Yeah, it's actually quite fun to rally it like this, especially with the rally engine in it now as well. Not a very competitive car from what I've seen. Maybe some people will have tried to build this thing for other things. Maybe it's competitive for something else, but it doesn't seem like it, since we don't really have a large number of like engines available for it, and also just feels like it might. Whoa! I actually almost got it. It just feels like it's not really like up there in terms of like, you know, it's not light enough and it's not powerful enough, and just what we have available for it just doesn't seem to make it as competitive as some of the other cars in this game. As you've seen, even that Clio, I mean that Clio is actually not even too bad if you build it right. But even with whatever tune I had on that Clio, I was able to like still stay ahead of the Fiesta in B class. And that wasn't even like a car that's like, you know, overly like OP or anything like that. It's not like crazy. But I don't know. Maybe for rally racing it could be a little bit of fun, but again, it just feels like you're not even going to be able to get this thing at the top of a class, because right now it's kind of like halfway through S1. So what are you going to do? Are you going to reduce the power, which will make it worse? And immediately I can already think of like a couple of cars that are just going to be better at it. If you want to reduce the power and bring it down into A class. Or do you want to bring this thing up into S2, which is basically impossible to bring, or bring it to the top of S1, which is basically impossible to do. Unless you give it like really good tires, but then you're doing what? You're trying to drive it on the road itself, and it's just not competitive. So the car itself isn't very competitive. It's cool that it's in the game. I definitely do think this car belongs in this game. It's a very good addition to the game. For the people that love the old Fords, especially Ford Fiestas and Ford Focuses, STs and RSs, I think this is a very good addition to the game. I just don't think that this guy is very competitive if you think of it in that terms, or in those terms. I don't know if I like the interior of this thing. It actually, sorry, I definitely prefer it more to the older Fiestas and the older like Focuses and stuff like that. The older Focuses and the older Fiestas, just the interior is just I'm so happy that they're just gone. These ones are so much nicer on the inside, but I don't know if I'm a massive fan of it. At least this still kind of holds back a little bit on the whole screens everywhere thing. You have a virtual cockpit and you have your little screen in the middle, and that's it. You don't really have, you know, big curved display, which just makes it look ugly. So from that sense, I actually quite like it. It actually does look quite nice and tidy. Anyway, regardless, that's pretty much it for the new Ford Fiesta. Get it for yourselves. Let me know what you think of it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.